The Pope is resigning. That's the breaking news out of the Vatican this morning. Let's go now to that NBC News special report.
Following some breaking news out of the Vatican right now, where it was announced just moments ago that Pope Benedict XVI will resign. He will resign effective February 28th of this year. Claudio Lavanga is NBC's bureau chief located in Rome. Claudio joins us now on the phone. Claudio, good morning. What can you tell us?
Good morning, Matt. Yes, this came as a shock, of course, for all of us and for the billion Catholics around the world. I mean, I just got confirmation of that news from the senior advisor to the Vatican, Greg Burke, who said that he made that speech in Latin. The Pope made that speech in Latin this morning during a relatively small event, which was the consistory for the canonization of the martyrs of Otranto, a small town in the region of Puglia in the south, and it just said that it doesn't have the strength anymore. I mean, this came as a shock because the Pope has the right to resign, but nobody ever did before him, especially considering that it comes after John Paul II, a man that at 85 wasn't even able to walk and neither speak really. He was mumbling towards the end of his life. And Pope Benedict XVI is just saying, I just don't have it anymore. I don't have the strength anymore to bear my mission to carry on the Catholic Church.
Claudio, though, is there concern or is there some speculation that there might be more to the story than that? Is there some concern that, in fact, there is some health situation that we are not aware of?
Indeed, there is a concern. I mean, Pope Benedict XVI has always been quite weak. We never really got his health situation from the Vatican, as the Vatican has always been very secretive about the health of any pope, really. So we don't really know the extent of the health problems that Pope Benedict XVI might be suffering right now. But certainly, or hopefully, we will get to know much more during the next coming hours or days.
And talk to me about how the process unfolds. I think a lot of us are familiar with what happens in the tragic event or unfortunate event that a pope passes away. But what would the process be like now if he has now told the world that he is resigning effective February 28th of this year? How does the process and what is the timing of the process of selecting the next pope?
Well, the process will be exactly the same. We will need to have a conclave. Of course, the conclave, which means that all the cardinals from all around the world will have to gather here in Rome. They will have to close themselves into the Sistine Chapel and decide who the next leader of the Catholic Church will be. Of course, the difference here will be that usually when a pope dies, we have the Nomen Dialis, the 9 days of mourning. Well, of course, we will be able to skip that this time. So I am sure that right now all the cardinals are being called upon to come back to Rome and start thinking about who the next pope will be.
Let me just make sure I understand what you're saying, Claudio. So does the conclave then begin in advance of the Pope actually stepping down, or does the conclave begin on February 28th or the 1st of March?
Well, Matt, this is unprecedented. The Pope resigning, so we'll need to find out from the Vatican exactly what the timing will be. My understanding right now, which is only half an hour after this announcement, is that the conclave will take place immediately after the resignation of Pope Benedict XVI. But we still need to get confirmation. It's still early hours. This is breaking news, and it's an unprecedented decision from the Pope. So it really is, in some way, uncharted territory.
All right, Claudio, thank you very much. Stay tuned or stay with us for a second. I might be coming back to you. I just want to make sure that people who are just tuning in understand the news that we are delivering this morning. Word has come from the Vatican this morning. In fact, the Pope himself announced in Latin during a relatively small ceremony that he will resign effective February 28th of this year. He's 85 years old and says he simply doesn't have the strength to do this anymore. George Weigel is NBC News' Vatican consultant. George, good morning to you. Talk to me about your reaction to hearing this news.
Good morning, Matt. It's a surprise. Obviously, this hasn't happened since 1296, which is 717 years ago, a papal abdication. The Pope then was Pope Celestine V. He was 85 years old, too, so there's an interesting historical symmetry here. Pope Benedict XVI has said on numerous public occasions that, including his most recent interview book, that were he to come to the judgment that he did not have the physical stamina left to give the church the leadership it deserved, that he would abdicate. I think that is, frankly, the proper word in this occasion. A resignation is something someone hands to someone else. Popes have no one to resign to. So this is an abdication. He has said he would consider this. I'm sure he considered it thoughtfully and prayerfully. It is obviously unprecedented, but I think we all had the sense, both from the realities of a world in which people live much longer than before, and from the Pope's own words, that this was a real possibility. I find the timing of this somewhat surprising.
Why?
Since the Pope is leading the Church right now through what he calls a year of faith, a special year devoted to the theological virtue of faith, to the proclamation of Christian faith throughout the world. I had thought, and I believe we discussed this with our colleagues at NBC, that were he to abdicate, that might come logically at the end of this year of faith. In any event, it has happened.
But George, but the timing of it, does it suggest to you, or does it make you worry that there is something more here in terms of a health issue?
Well, it does suggest to me that he has become much weaker in recent months than he was when he summoned this year of faith last fall.
All right.
We will see how the process unfolds. I'm very interested in what Claudio said about the conclave beginning immediately, which means all parties will be heading for Rome.
Well, I think what Claudio says, what he thought that it was perhaps that the conclave would begin immediately after
that's right.
the resignation.
Yeah,
so in other words, this is not something that would happen in the coming week. It would happen after February 28th.
That's right. That's right. Now, you can't elect a new pope until the present pope has departed the scene.
George Weigel on the phone for us this morning as we have this breaking news out of Rome and the Vatican that Pope Benedict XVI will abdicate, as George said, on February 28th. George, thank you very much. Claudio, thank you as well. We're going to have much more on this announcement coming up this morning on Today. I'm Matt Lauer in New York. This has been an NBC News Special Report.